My name is Stephen Benjamin. I was born Billy Stephen Kreider. I legally changed my name to Stephen Benjamin in 2009, and while I still use my legal birth name for most matters, Benjamin is a religious moniker and a name I believe I was given in a spiritual vision many years ago. I post online on a message board titled The Message and Visions of Stephen Benjamin. Here on July the 2nd of this year, 2016, I reported having had a vision, and I began, based upon that report, to start calling prayers for the Florida region with regards to concerns for an upcoming tropical system or stronger to impact that region. In such, I noted prior event with visions back in 2010 regarding Pensacola that persisted for 2 months and would accumulate to their fulfillment at the end of Tropical Storm Bonnie, which was deemed by the media as being mostly hype, but nevertheless it impacted regions we had been monitoring. Myself and those who pay attention to my writings online have been monitoring for a couple of months. Now, this message was placed on July the 2nd on that message board. This was placed just this afternoon, August 5th, 2016. I had noted to those on this message board, and also when I posted concerns of it on Facebook, that when I knew more details I would reveal them, but that I was calling for prayer and have been since July 2nd for the Florida region. Having noted that there was some emphasis of a prior event from 2010 with Tropical Storm Bonnie, a storm that began as Invest 97L in 2010, and the recent week when Invest 97L in 2016 developed into Tropical Storm Earl and then Hurricane Earl, making landfall yesterday, Thursday, August 4th at Belize, and then continuing across back into the Gulf of the Bay of Campeche and the Gulf of Mexico and skirting up the Mexican coastline. I began drawing attention to that storm as the parallel Invest 97L was with both storms. Today, in the spirit, I was emphasized to post these things, noting this is it, an unexpected shift, and to draw attention to the remnants of Earl, and also what's going on now in the Gulf of Mexico with regards to the Florida coastline. This morning, let me change slides here. This morning, warnings began being given monitoring this area, the very region of Florida I've noted for concern on July the 2nd and have been calling for prayer for since that time frame. The National Hurricane Center in Miami, Florida, along with NOAA, released concerns for the possible development of a tropical system to impact this region in the next coming week, and to possibly develop into a tropical depression or storm over the next 5 days. Now, this is today, Friday, August 5th, as of 1 o'clock p.m. This is the remnants of Earl here, and right here is the remnants of Earl as it's skirting the Mexican coastline. It still hasn't really gone inland. It's going inland, but it's still skirting the coastline, and they're anticipating they're calling for it to go inland here, is what the weather experts are calling for. Now, in this area is the system that is being monitored now. All this energy and these storms you're seeing out here forming now to impact what they're calling for Louisiana to Florida. Now, just 1 second here. I have a battery issue. Hopefully we'll get this all recorded. So, this is the system we're talking about now. We're still monitoring the remnants of this, but as this is dissipating, the area we were calling for prayer for, this region up in here, is now becoming under an obvious threat. This is the same thing that went on with Tropical Storm Bonnie in 2010. We were calling for prayer for Orlando, Tampa, the southern tip of Florida, but primarily we were calling for prayer for Pensacola the entire 2 months prior to that event. And after Bonnie made landfall, it impacted the southern area with light rain, considered mostly hype. When it got up here about Orlando, that storm shifted across to Tampa and went into the Gulf of Mexico. And the most intense rains in Florida happened in this region from Orlando to Tampa from Tropical Storm Bonnie in 2010 as it shifted across. And then its storm band stretched up and reached up and impacted one city, Pensacola, where it spawned a single tornado between 4:30 and 5 o'clock p.m. on that afternoon, the same day it made landfall. And that tornado spun a single tree into a house, splitting it in home. Thankfully, the family wasn't there, but we'd been praying for that city for 2 months. And so it was only at the very end that those bands intensified between 3:45 p.m. to 5 p.m. and it became obvious, as you could see them stretching over to reach Pensacola, that the area we'd been praying for the entire time was then obviously under threat. Well, it's the same thing here. As this former Invest 97L developed into Earl and went on to develop a tropical storm and hurricane, and is now where it's at now, as what looks to be and may well be, it's going into its final stages. The area we were concerned for and calling for prayer for since July the 2nd is now becoming under an obvious threat. Now, so this is where we are at this point. I just want to show one final thing here. This is NOAA satellite imagery right now, and this is covering the last. This is actually covering the last 48 hours, well, about 36 hours or so. You can see this is Belize over in this area here, and this is after Earl came across Belize and went into the Bay of Campeche and is now spinning up the coastline and looking like it's going to go inland here. This is what's taking place with Earl. But as it did, all this energy that's now in Florida, look where it came from. It was up here, and this high pressure system was pulled, or this pressure system, high or low, I'm not sure regardless, this pressure system, along with some moisture plumes, was pulled out into the Gulf. And once there, the combination of the weather that was already there formed this energy that's going on now with all these storms breaking out. But as it's being pulled down, look at these bands. It's almost this band is pulling this one down. Everything's connected. The Earth is a living organism, just like we are. And pressure points on a human body in one place can affect it in other places. And it's the same thing with weather patterns, you know. And so what you see here, you can see as this is swirling across Belize yesterday and into the Bay of Campeche, you can see these bands by this same energy. You can see faintly, you can see it pulling down, and as it is, it's dropping in here, pulling this system down into the Gulf to become what we're now monitoring at this time. So we'll be keeping an eye on this. We'll be praying for the Florida region. We have been since July the 2nd. For those paying attention, watch and pray.